Hello, a very good morning to all my dearest students. So today you will learn about neurons and synapse. There are 4 learning standards that you need to achieve at the end of this lesson. Okay, first, you should be able to draw and label structures of a sensory and also a motor neuron that consists of dendrite, myelin sheath, axon, node of Ranvier, and also cell body. You should also be able to analyze the functions of each type of neuron in impulse transmission, explain the structure and function of synapse, and explain the transmission of impulse across a synapse. The nervous system is made up of millions of nerve cells known as neurons. Okay, a typical neuron consists of a cell body, axon, dendrite, myelin sheath, a node of Ranvier, and a synaptic node. So this figure shows the basic structures and functions of the parts of the neuron. So now let's look part by part, of the neuron. So the first part called dendrite, where dendrite are short branches of the cell body. It receives nerve impulses from other neurons or the external environment and sends them to the cell body. And then this structure called cell body, where cell body consists of nucleus, nucleus and many cytoplasmic projections called dendrites. Cell body also contains organelles such as mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and also Golgi apparatus. Cell body integrates signals and coordinates metabolic activities. And then this elongated branch of the body cell called axon, where it carries impulses out of the cell body to other neurons or effectors. This arrow shows direction of impulse flow. And then this one, yang menyelaputi axon, dipanggil sebagai myelin sheath. So myelin sheath is an insulating membrane, that coats the axon, or in other words, it acts as an insulator. Dia bertindak sebagai insulator. And here there are 3 functions of myelin sheath: protects neurons from injury, insulator for electrical impulses, and then provides nutrients to the axon. And then here from this figure you can see gap here. There are gaps. There are a few gaps here. So this gap called as node of Ranvier. It helps to accelerate the flow of nerve impulse by allowing the nerve impulses to jump from one node to the following node. The last structure, a swelling at the end of the axon branch called synaptic node. This structure sends signals to muscle cells, gland cells, or other neuron dendrites. So make sure you know how to draw, label, and state the functions of the parts of the neuron. There are 3 different types of neuron Okay, sensory neurons, relay neurons, and motor neurons. Okay, let's look at sensory neurons. Okay, sensory neurons present in the dorsal root of the spinal nerve, where it carries nerve impulses from the sensory organ receptors to the central nervous system. Okay, and the cell body is found in the dorsal root ganglion. And dendrites receive nerve impulses from receptors and then send them to the cell body. And the nerve impulses are transferred from the cell body to the axon to the next neuron. Okay, sensory receptor, okay, dendrite, cell body, axon, and then to interneuron. Okay, second types of neurons called relay neuron. Okay, where nerve fibers found in the central nervous system. So function of this neuron is to connect the sensory neuron to the motor neuron. Okay, where the cell body can be found in clusters in the gray matter of the central nervous system. Okay, please take note that relay neurons sends nerve impulses from the sensory neuron to the to the central nervous system, and from the central nervous system to the motor neuron. Okay, that's why in the short words, the function of this neuron is to connect the sensory neuron to the motor neuron. Okay, next is motor neuron, where it can be found in the ventral root of the spinal nerve. So the function of this neuron is to receive nerve impulses from the relay neuron of the central nervous system, and then it sends nerve impulses to effectors, okay, such as muscles, glands, to produce the appropriate response. The cell body is present in the gray matter of the spinal cord. Okay, this figure shows three types of neurons. Okay, number one is sensory neuron, and then the second one here is relay neuron, and then the third neuron is motor neuron. Okay, make sure you can differentiate. Okay, make sure you know how to identify which one is sensory neuron, relay neuron, and motor neuron. Ketiga-tiga neuron ini mempunyai rupa, rupa yang berbeza. Sekarang kita lihat pula structure and functions of synapses. So nerve impulses, nerve impulses are information in the form of electrical signals. Electrical signals transmitted along neurons. Nerve impulses are transmitted along the axon to the synaptic node. A synapse is a narrow gap. A synapse is a narrow gap between a synaptic node of a neuron and the dendrite of the adjacent neuron receiving the nerve impulse. And electrical signals that carry information must be transferred across synapses for impulses to be transmitted to the following neuron. Okay, and synapse play an important role where it allows nerve impulses to travel in one direction and also control the types of impulses that pass through them. Transmission of impulse across a synapse. Okay, impulses are transmitted chemically across synapse. Okay, please remember this. Okay, impulses are transmitted chemically across synapses. And the chemical substances that involve are called neurotransmitters. Okay, that are kept in synaptic vesicles that are found at the end of the synaptic node. Okay, examples of neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine, noradrenaline, serotonin, and dopamine. The process of transmitting impulses through synapses is slow. Okay, it's slow as it occurs chemically. Okay, chemically. At first, okay, pada mulanya, the electrical signal will be changed to a chemical signal, okay, in the form of neurotransmitter. And then the chemical substance is converted again. Okay, converted again to an electrical signal on the membrane of the receiving neuron. Okay, di sini ada perubahan berlaku pada impuls beberapa kali. Okay, pada mulanya, okay, electrical signals berubah kepada chemical signal. Okay, and then chemical substance converted again to an electrical signal pada membrane of the receiving neuron. Okay, it contains mitochondria to generate the energy for the transmission of nerve impulses. So here mitochondria plays an important role in generating energy needed to transmit nerve impulses. This figure shows the transmission of impulses across synapses. So firstly, when electrical impulses reach synaptic node, synaptic vesicles are stimulated to release neurotransmitters into the synapse. And then these neurotransmitters diffuse through the synapse and combine to a specific receptor protein, which is a receptor on the dendrite of the receiving neuron. And the binding of the transmitter and the receptor stimulates the initiation of the next impulse, so that impulse can be transmitted through the neuron.